Okay, when I talk about elevate, I think about finding courage in the cause. I was always a very shy little girl. I was. I know that's hard to believe. Isn't that inspiring? No, I couldn't talk very clear, which is probably another reason why I didn't think that my son, had autism, because he had some of the same things that I had. And I can tell you that when you're little and I had a lot to say, I just couldn't get it out. So it frustrated me. And after a while, I just became very self-conscious and aware. So I do have a big heart for little children and building them up and encouraging them, because I know how I felt when I was little. I can also tell you that it's the coolest thing when you talk about elevating. About 6 weeks ago, it was a Sunday afternoon, and the next day I was doing an all-day infomercial for a company, a national company. And for some reason, probably hormones, I don't know, I just felt low. I just was having one of those moments where I thought, what are they doing hiring me? I mean, don't they know what I sound like? I mean, who would buy this product if I'm pitching it? I don't get it. And I drove to probably 4 different nail salons because I did know that I needed to have nice nails. Finally, on the 5th one, it was Sunday afternoon, I found one open. So I went in and I just was in a quiet mode. Forget Jim. I was in a quiet mode. And yet, as I sat there, I noticed the interaction between a mother and her daughter. Daughter looked to be about my age, really fun hair, and her mother, was just very vibrant personality. And listening to them talk, I couldn't help but be drawn into that same energy. I wanted some of that, And would you believe, driving over there, I'm thinking, I can't even talk. My voice is horrible. I spoke, and that mother said, I love your voice. It's like, are you kidding me? So that was like, whew, let's talk, And I got to know them a little bit, and the mother opened up to me a little bit, and they left, and I went to pay, and my Patti and Manny had been paid for. Wow. She had no idea what kind of day I was having, but she just knew that she enjoyed the conversation, and she elevated me. And that did so much in just helping me out of that slumpy mindset and helping me prepare for the next day. We have an opportunity all the time. When we talk about autism, we talk about having a cause bigger than ourselves. When I talk about the motivating part of it, the part that is really hard for me to embrace about being a title holder was I didn't want the focus on me. I was much more confident if I focused on the crown. And yet, there's the other side of it. You're honored to be in that position. So if you're representing South Carolina, if you've just done something worthy of a compliment, embrace it. Your hard work helped you achieve that. What you do with it will be determined by where your attitude of service is. So I didn't want to get caught up in the outside stuff of pageantry. I wanted to focus on just being the best that I could be and helping other people. So one thing too about confidence, it starts young. A lot of us in this room had moms that were really tough on us. For instance, I was just in the paper. Well, I'm in this fundraiser for Dancing with the Stars, and they're interviewing all the different celebrities, and my picture didn't come in first, and my mom let me know about it. So, what? But that's okay, because you know what? Something happens as we grow up. We realize that our mothers love us and they do the best we can, and it doesn't matter what a mom does, because a kid's going to process it the way they process it. We can't control that. It's funny the things that we learn once we have children. But I do believe confidence is the byproduct of preparation, so you need to be prepared. And I believe that preparation is the seed for confidence to bloom. When you overcome adversity, it builds confidence. Today, my daughter was going to drive to school. She calls me, "Mom, I can't drive to school. I don't know what to do." I ended up taking her, and she says to me, "I'm just going to be so off track with my presentation today." And I'm like, "Oh no, I think you're going to do an outstanding presentation today." She's like, "Why?" She's like, I said, "Because look at the challenges that have already been in front of you that you're choosing to rise above and overcome. I know you're going to do a great job because you didn't give up. You're going to do it." And I was saying the same thing to myself in my own head because I'm going, "Do you know what my day holds? Do you think I have time to come and get you?" When we think about motivate, motivation comes in different places. Through people, through goals, through opportunities. The greatest thing is to understand that you are unique. That's what's cool about you. You inspire other people when you embrace those little differences about who you are. We look at celebrities, and don't you kind of think they're all beginning to look exactly the same? That's their perception of what beauty is. So it's important to keep this bigger scope of understanding that, I'm going to quote Forrest Gump's mama, "Pretty is as pretty does." I'm just saying. But on the other hand, you don't want to use something that you don't feel like you're good in as an excuse to fail. You just try harder. Oftentimes it's those who try the hardest actually enjoy the gift of success even more and do more with it than those who started life so, with everything handed to them. How many times have we seen that scenario when everything was just right here for the taking and the life just never took flight? And you've got those little, just go-getter hard workers that have to just really, really rise above the circumstances in their life, and once they get it, they hold on to it, and they soar. The South Carolina Strawberry Festival, this will be the 3rd year in May. It has already taken first over the festivals in South Carolina, beating Spoleto in Charleston, which I learned that just this morning. It was surprising to me. I direct a pageant there for women and girls 13 to, I have a 50-year-old this year. In fact, I wasn't going to have a Mrs., but she called me up and said, "It's on my bucket list. Would you please have a Mrs.?" And I said, "If you can get me 9 other women who are interested in scratching this off your bucket list, I'll do it." She did it. She stepped up. She came to the first orientation. She called me the next day. I was a little bit nervous, and she said, "By the way, this was the call I took right after the call from my boss that told me not so good critique, the positive critique that's like, thanks." She calls me up and she said, Miss Patti," that's what they call me, "I'm so excited. You just don't understand. I'm a 50-year-old woman. I used to weigh 300 pounds. I've had red hair my whole life. In my fantasy, I've wanted to do a pageant. I never felt pretty enough. But it's on my bucket list, so I made a decision that I was going to do this thing." And during our orientation, sitting there in the room with all these beautiful, just beautiful young girls, what you said made me feel just as beautiful. Wow. You know what? You got to be true to your brand. I might gush and be a little too perky for a political interview at this stage in my career, but a phone call like that, the relationships between us girls, wow. And I didn't have a sister, so maybe I'm overcompensating. I don't know.